This is Face the Nation, broadcasting live from the CNN IBN headquarters in New Delhi with Sagarika Ghosh.
Should the forthcoming census of 2011 not just count people but also count how many OBCs there are in India? There was an unparliamentary outburst on this issue of caste-based census in Parliament today with bitter and noisy arguments between Lalu Yadav and the BJP. As far as the government is concerned, the Home Ministry maintains that tabulating caste in a census will bitterly divide India along caste lines and is simply unconstitutional.
Lalu Prasad and Anand Kumar nearly coming to blows in the Lok Sabha as Kumar called Lalu anti-nationals. The BJP suggestion that Lalu join a laughter channel didn't go down too well either. In the end, the demand for a caste-based census was lost in the din of repeated adjournments, with even the ruling party joining in the chorus. Within the government, those in favour of such a census include Veerappa Moily, Jaipal Reddy, Vayala Ravi, A. Raja, M.K. Alagiri. Those against include P. Chidambaram, Mukul Vasnik and Anand Sharma. The Home Ministry says it's difficult to verify caste data, and including a caste in the census could endanger the integrity of the data. Instead, a body like the State Backward Commission is better equipped to undertake such a study. It's logic that doesn't have very many takers.
Reservation policy is now only at the mercy of the judiciary. Every time they ask, what is the data, what is the scientific data available? It's not made available.
All the help that is going around for these people, we should exactly know whether it's going to the right side or not. Otherwise, we have no figure.
There is no problem in correcting census of the people belonging to other backward classes. The scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and other backward classes, let the information be there in the government.
These castes which get benefits legally today, they need to be properly enumerated.
It's a census that's divided the government and united the opposition. A caste-based census will help evolve government policies better is what its votaries are suggesting. But by going ahead with a census minus the caste clause, the government has already made its stand clear. Because the UPA does not want to be seen to be institutionalizing the polarization of a caste-based society. In New Delhi, with Bureau Inputs, Meetu Jain.
Let's now get to the key issues in the debate tonight. If there are OBC reservations, then is a census not essential to determine how many numbers there are that deserve those reservations? Will such a census, on the other hand, though, deepen caste loyalties? Remember, our founding fathers were against caste census. Will caste census lead to fraud and motivated rise in numbers of certain castes? Will caste tell lies about how many they actually are? Will caste censuses yield disputes, settle disputes and yield vital information on backwardness? Will a caste census lead to caste competition and conflict? So these are all the questions we're hoping to raise tonight. Joining us, Raghuvansh Prasad Singh, MP of the RJD, someone very much in the thick of the parliamentary battle today, doing battle there with the BJP in Parliament today. Kancha Elias joining us, Dalit right activist. Surjit Bhalla, MD of Oxus Fund Management, is here. He's a well-known critic of caste-based quotas and caste-based policies. Madhu Kishwar, editor Manushi, is also here. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. The question we're raising is caste still a social reality in India? Remember, we've just seen the murder of a young girl because she wanted to marry outside her caste. Is caste still a social reality in India? 84 yes, rest saying no. Let's get into Crossfire. Mr. Raghuvansh Prasad Singh, let me start with you. You were really thick in the middle of the argument today in Parliament. Why are you so keen on a caste-based census?
इसलिए कि देश में कास्ट है, सारा कुछ जाति पर ही यहाँ चल रहा है, तो इसलिए जो पिछड़ी जातियां हैं, जो छूट गए हैं, विकास में उनकी हिस्सेदारी नहीं हुई है, उनकी हिस्सेमारी न हो, इसलिए बात साफ हो जाए। नहीं तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जब मामला उठता है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट कहता कोई साइंटिफिक आधार नहीं है, कोई उनकी गिनती नहीं है। फिर अभी मोइली जो कानून मंत्री हैं, महिला विधेयक पर सवाल उठा, बिछड़ी जाति का हिस्सा दो, कहा उनका कोई आधार नहीं है, कोई गणना नहीं है, कोई जानकारी नहीं है। तो इसलिए ये सब सवाल का हल उसी में है जब जाति आधारित जनगणना हो जाए और पिछड़ी जातियों की संख्या किसकी कहाँ कितनी है, उस हिसाब से सब बजट बने, प्लान बने
Okay, Mr. Surjit Bhalla, Raghuvansh Prasad Singh suggesting there that affirmative action policies or reservation, many of these have been struck down because of the lack of credible evidence on the actual numbers there. So would a census not put all those doubts to rest?
Well, what a census will do, most likely, is show a radical increase.
Problem with that audio line there. Let me get Madhu Kishwar to respond to that.
See, if you have to have caste-based reservations, you need good data, without doubt. But I think the more important question is, today, the only qualification to be considered forward is your ability to operate in the English language. So the divide created by those who know good English and those who don't, no matter what caste you belong to, if you can speak good English in the right accent, everybody assumes you belong to the elite. And if you don't, no matter whether you're Brahmin or Kayast or whatever, all doors are open to you. So I think backwardness needs to be understood in terms of what opens doors for you and what doesn't.
Right.
Also, equally important, I think we need a thoroughgoing debate on how certain caste groups came to be designated as backward. It's not a coincidence that all those that the British described as backward are the prime productive classes of India. All our farmers, all our artisans, our skilled weavers who make the most exotic silks, the Kanjivaram silk weavers, the Banarsi silk weavers, all our sonars, all our lohars, all our sthapatis, you know, people who were responsible for creating architectural wonders. Also because their language skills, I mean their knowledge base was not based on the English language.
So caste is a useful...
I'm saying they impoverished these productive classes. The point is, if your economic policies are not different from that of the British, they may be different in form but not in content, you continue impoverishing the most productive, the most creative classes of your society.
If you don't,
and then you think you do social justice by giving them clerical jobs, babugiri, making them pen pushers. No, I see no reason why, if you had to have reservations, for example.
No, so are you saying that therefore caste census is the right thing to do?
No, I'm saying we need a more thoroughgoing debate on backwardness.
On what constitutes backwardness? Perhaps economic criteria then are to be
not just economic.
Not just economic criteria, but also social and economic, not just caste. But let's just bring in Surjit Bhalla here, who has very strong objections to caste-based census, indeed quotas in general.
Well, no, look, my objections are based to what happened just about a decade ago. In 1999, the NSS did a survey in which they enumerated how many OBCs there were in the country. And they found out that there were about 33%, much below the 51% often touted as the number of OBCs in the country. Well, in 2004-05, the NSS did the survey again and found that now 42% of Indians classified themselves as OBCs. So therefore, either the OBCs had a fertility rate faster than ever known in history, or mankind, or to womankind, or what people were doing was that they were deteriorating themselves, showing they were lower caste in order to find benefit from the reservation policies. Now, it's interesting to note that in 1931, when the British did the census on the caste system, or how many people were there, people petitioned them to say that they did not belong to the lower caste.
That's right.
So what we have achieved in 60 years of independence and of this reservation policy is to make people want to be inferior than what they already are, or to be socially inferior, or caste inferior, or whatever, lower caste than what it is. So here's this paradox, and it's all because of the goodies. You know, if the census were to come to me today, ask me my caste, I'll say an OBC, because I like to get the free benefits just as much as anybody else does.
Right. So it's a race to the bottom to get the goodies that are there because of reservations. Mr. Raghuvansh Prasad, respond to that. That Mr. Surjit Bhalla is saying that the minute you have a caste-based census, there will be motivated and suspicious findings because people will all want to be in a certain caste and they'll inflate their numbers and declare that they are members of the OBC when they may not be.
नहीं वो सर्टेन कास्ट से तो जो भी जिसकी संख्या है 1931 तक तो हुआ ही है। 1931 तक की जनगणना में पिछड़ी जातियों की भी गणना हुई है, उसके बाद से लोग छोड़ दिया था। अब इसमें कम लोगों का राज बहुमत पर चले, इसलिए सब अंधकार में लोग रखे थे। लेकिन अब यह अंधकार रहने वाली नहीं है, अंधकार छटे और बात साफ हो जाए। जिसकी जितनी संख्या हो सब लोग जाने, उस हिसाब से लोग करे बोले, या नहीं तो कोई वैज्ञानिक आधार नहीं है, कोई जानकारी नहीं है, अंधकार में लोग सब काम कर रहे हैं।
Mr. Surjit Bhalla, again, the same point that Mr. Raghuvansh Prasad is making, that the fact is quotas exist. There are quotas at the central level, at the union level, there are quotas at the state level. Now, in order for these quotas to make sense, don't we need to know what the actual numbers are?
Well, absolutely. And how are you going to do that? By making everybody inflate the numbers. He says, we don't know what the numbers are. I agree we don't know where the numbers are. But actually, it is quite revealing that before the caste definition, or before the goodies associated with the OBC caste were made public, if you will, people declared themselves according to the state-defined caste system, and that turned out to be 33%. So therefore, my point is, before the incentive-based system came in, that is what the number was. Now, we should also remember that the founding fathers said that we should have reservations, but we should only have them for 10 years, because they could quite well see, and they weren't smart enough, because they put it in the Constitution, but they were smart enough to foresee the dangers that would ensue, so they put in this clarification that, listen, we should review the policy after 10 years. We haven't done it yet. I doubt if we'll do it in another 60 years, and therefore we are caught in this mindless trap.
Kancha Ilaiah, let me just get Kancha Ilaiah in here.
No, the point is that if the census are collected based on caste, the social system in its entirety will come into counting. See, if somebody was to say, like the Home Minister is saying, that if caste becomes part of the census collection, then the whole society will get divided on caste lines, then if that is the case, why should we go for a religious census? See, why are we dividing the society on religious lines? Then why should we count people as men and women and on this category, on that category? See, the precise question is that
Mr. Bhalla, you had a point there.
Caste is an Indian
one moment.
If the census people ask for caste of every person, those who want to tell the caste, they will tell. Once the caste is recorded, who comes into OBC, who does not come into OBC, that will be categorized based on the state list, based on the central list, and there is a mechanism that we can do it. So why are you then listing out scheduled caste and scheduled tribe? Why are you listing out minorities? Then why is the question that there is a barber here who does not get
Mr. Surjit Bhalla, if you're listing minorities, if you're listing other categories, why not caste? Caste is a reality in India.
Because the last speaker is contradicting himself when he's saying we're counting people on the basis of religion. Yes, we are. But you know what? It's unconstitutional to have quotas or reservations on the basis of religion. It is constitutional to have quotas on the basis of SCs and STs, which is why we have counted them. It was only after the Mandal riots and the Mandal Commission in 1990-91 that we started affirming that OBCs was a new category for reservations. That is why there are a set of people, if you will, including the government, that says we should not take this any further because it's already gone to rather absurd lengths.
If you can count SC and SC, why can't you count OBCs?
No, I'm saying look at what happened with the census count on the basis of religion. When the British took the first censuses, many communities listed themselves as Hindu, Muslim. You know, they weren't so polarized. People's identities weren't so polarized between Hindus and Sikhs, between Buddhists and Hindus. And what the census has done, polarized them, sharply polarized entities, and these become the main identity marker. So it hasn't done us great good either.
But
now
the point identity markers exist anyway.
No,
if you look
I'm
at the matrimonial advertising in newspapers, it's Khatri boy or Vaishya girl or Brahmin girl. So caste is
for marriage.
Life.
It was meant to be for marriage purposes, for certain purposes. But the same thing, what works for marriage doesn't need to work for all political and public domains. I think that's, if it stays in its own place.
But if you're getting a job on the basis of caste, if you're getting an education on the basis of caste, if you're marrying on the basis of caste, if you're
marrying on the basis,
then why not the caste-based census?
No, I'm not. I'm saying if you have to have quotas, you may as well have good data. But the likelihood is you will get many more vying to be called backward. And also, the other thing is you have to get many castes ready to be exited from that, because it hasn't remained constant. The Yadavs, for example, many of the backward castes today are dominant ruling elites in their respective regions.
So the dominant ruling elite brings me to a good point. Mr. Raghuvansh Prasad Singh, is your objective only political? You want the census only so they could demand more quotas?
सबका जो हिस्सा है खाली एक ही जाति की गिनती होगी, सबकी ना गिनती होगी तो सबका हिस्सा साफ होगा, सब लोग अपना अपना लोग खोजेगा। सुप्रीम कोर्ट में सवाल उठाया वो खाली एक जाति के लिए, मोइली कानून मंत्री हैं वो सवाल उठा रहे हैं इनकी गिनती ये नहीं है, तो सारी पिछड़ी जातियों के लिए ना हम बोल रहे हैं, कह रहे हैं, हल्ला कर रहे हैं।
You know, if you were to decide a quota for mentally retarded, I tell you many people would be glad to get themselves listed as mentally retarded.
Let's take a short break on that and come back. To Face the Nation, we're discussing is caste still a social reality in India? Carry on voting. We'll carry on with our discussion. Kanchai Laila, let me quote to you a social scientist who's written, Dipankar Gupta, in fact, that if there is caste-based census, caste will fight caste along every social cleavage and ditch, leaving the idea of India in tatters. There will be competitiveness in every field, for jobs, for education, for social facilities. Caste will be pitted against caste forever. That's the argument made by Dipankar Gupta.
Yeah, the point is that if caste census are taken, if somebody thinks that one caste will fight against the other, if the census are not taken, there will not be any fight, is absolutely wrong. Caste exists. Castes have been a reality of Indian social system. So by enumerating them, you will only tell that look, each caste has this much of population base. Now, based on that, whether we will decide on the reservation issue, whether we will decide on priorities of certain areas, all that is a different question.
No, but that is the argument.
Look at the contradiction and the dilemma.
But that is the argument that is being made.
We talk about women's reservation based on population and census. Why did we come to the conclusion that 33% should be the reservation? There is a census base.
But Kanchai Laya, the sort of project of 1947 and the vision of our founding fathers and the constitution in some senses was to eliminate caste, was to have, as Surjit Bhalla was saying, caste for a reservation for a certain number of years, but after that to move to a situation where caste became irrelevant in the public sphere. Maybe it was there for marriage and for social issues, but in the public sphere, caste as a determinant of opportunity should become irrelevant. Aren't we simply just, underlining caste as the sole determinant of jobs and opportunities if you create a caste-based census, and then that becomes fodder for more and more reservations?
No, Sagarika, it is a very simple social science fact that by recognizing the existing reality of an institution, you will really work towards the elimination of that negative institution.
Okay, let me get a response from that.
Now, why are you fighting against
it's a reality. It's a reality of India, and we need to know, maybe have scientific evidence on the numbers.
The reality of India, that there are castes in India, that it is used for various purposes. What I'd like to ask the previous speaker is a simple question. Does he believe there should be reservations? That's the core of the problem. If we did not have reservations for education, if we did not have reservations for government jobs, na rahega baans, na bajegi bansuri. We wouldn't have this problem. We wouldn't be having this discussion, and we can go ahead and enumerate castes and whatever else that we wanted to enumerate. The reason there is a problem is because of reservations for key items, for key
Kancha Alaya, that is the trouble.
That is why,
because people are wanting reservation. Okay, go ahead.
One last point. One last point. You have the same problem with below the poverty line and above the poverty line. People classify themselves as below the poverty line in order to get goodies. This has nothing to do with caste. This is just to do with people act according to incentives. You give them stupid incentives, they will act on them.
Okay, very quickly, Kancha Alaya, and then we'll get a closing comment from
Sagarika, the whole question is, the caste enumeration is not just meant for reservation alone. See, the enumeration question is a larger social science question of knowing.
But that can be done. But that can be done by the National Commission of Backward Classes. That can be done by academics. Why does the census have to do that? The census is there to facilitate policy. The center is there for government policy. Why does the census then have to enumerate what academics should do?
No, Sagarika, the question is, why is census counting women and men? Why is census counting who are Muslim, who are Christians, who are Hindus? And then when they said that all SC, ST, OBCs are also Hindus, now within that there is so much of historical, social reality of categorization. How do we know the differentiations? What is the basis of knowing the differentiations?
We're completely out of time.
For this, Supreme Court is asking for caste enumeration. It is for this, High Courts are asking for caste enumeration. It is for this, the people themselves are asking. Is democracy a democracy of people's opinion or few intellectuals' opinion?
Okay, very quickly, we're completely out of time.
I really think if the purpose is to redress backwardness, I think then the solutions have to be far more far-reaching than the quota system.
Right, you made that
because
point.
It is very limited, it's only created a tiny elite.
Right.
Secondly, caste in its present form is a post-colonial formation. It did not exist in the form that it is. It's a historical fact, and Kancha Alaya should know that. Thirdly, that if, for example, even Hindu-Muslim count led to the partition of India, this majority-minority competition, and these boundaries are far more fluid. In fact, throughout history, as you well know, many groups wanted to group up. Shivaji, they would hire their priests and try to pose an upper caste status. This business of pegging backwardness and redressal
and
to these
few identity is
few government jobs. I mean,
right.
I'm saying, why should our weavers be starving? Why should our farmers be committing suicide? And that is the real issue.
Right.
Upward mobility should not come only through government jobs.
Right.
And that to me is the big issue.
Completely out of time. This is a highly polarized debate. Just as caste is polarizing, the debate is also polarized. Surjit Bhalla and Madhukeshwar there saying that, in fact, enumeration of caste is simply not the business of the census of India, which is there for policy, and policy should not be made along caste lines. Kancha Alaya saying this is a social reality of India. Raghuvansh Prasad also saying social reality of India. It has to be enumerated, particularly if there are affirmative action laws on caste. Thanks very much indeed. Kancha Alaya, Surjit Bhalla, Madhukeshwar, Raghuvansh Prasad saying thanks very much indeed. What you're telling us there at the end is in fact a caste-based census, a recognition of the social reality of India. 85% are saying yes.